this will be the initial video for Hades 2. Overall, I think the gameplay is good. However, I am not going to focus on that here. I'm going to be talking about UI changes I'd like to see, and later in early access, I can get more into gameplay mechanics. With that said, in the accessibility settings we have here, there is a mouse cursor color changer. It changes this mouse from like a green and white and sort of blue color to a silver color. From a visibility standpoint, this is not good enough. I would want to be able to increase the cursor size because I lose track of it easily. This doesn't really stand out to me from the rest of the background because it's still very small. And I should be able to set the color of this as well. Roy G. Biv, the whole rainbow. If I want to make this cursor 4 times as big and hot pink, I should be able to do that. Whatever helps people keep track of where this cursor is. If we go back to the menu here, there are no colorblind modes. It's not in accessibility, it's not in display or interface or gameplay or anywhere. From what I've gathered, Hades 1 didn't have any either, except for a fan-made mod. Come now, this should not be the case. These settings should come from the dev, not mods. This is standard stuff, colorblind modes, standard stuff. And colorblind options are such a basic thing to exclude. Having colorblind modes would include adjusting the color palette and the enemies, NPCs, and player having a colored outline around their character so that there's better visibility. And any NPCs or enemies or whatever or objects that you can interact with have an outline as well. If we take a look at one of the longer menus like the credit screen here, there's no scroll bar. I'm scrolling with the mouse wheel, or you can click on these and hold it, but there's no bar to grab onto and scroll with this, which is kind of an odd choice. I understand that they're going for a theme. Maybe they don't want a bar over here, but when you have a larger menu like this and you want to get somewhere quickly, you can scroll kind of fast with the mouse wheel, but it would be better to just grab something over here and scroll with that. So I think that should change. The credit menu, well, actually that's not true. The control menu is also like that. You have to click once, and it's like in pages, right? So that's the first page, second page, third page. But I still think there should be a scroll wheel here so that if somebody wants to see move up, left, down, and right all on the same screen, be able to do that. Be able to scroll it to where you want it to be. Another thing with the menus or the various screens in the game, like with keepsakes here and other menus, these should have titles. For the sake of clarity and knowing what something is, there should be big text up here saying keepsakes, cauldron, shop, whatever. Make it obvious what this menu is for. And in fact, the cauldron does actually say incantations on it. So you actually know, what you're looking at here. Oh, it's incantations, these things that you can make and give you various benefits. The same should be true over here at the shop. You immediately get into the categories of the shop, but it should say shop at the top. Make it obvious what it is, because there may be people who are visually impaired and they open a menu and they don't understand what it is. Not obvious. And it's just good design to have titles for things. It's just good design. And speaking of menus, if you go over to the incantations over here, the things that you can make are in green. The things that you can't make are in red. And the things that you've already made or can't make more of are grayed out. The text that's grayed out, that's fine. That's kind of obvious what it is. You can't craft it. It doesn't say that you can craft at the bottom or anything like that, so that's fine. And the green red is fine, but add the colorblind so that people can actually tell the difference. But the thing I wanted to bring up was that this is not the same in all of the menus, and I'm gonna have to find old footage so I can actually show you that the menu for the weapons over here is not the same. I found a freeze frame of the armaments menu. So see how it says sister blades and that's in yellow? You can unlock things that are in yellow in this menu. The other things here, the other two armaments are in red. That means you can't unlock those. You don't have whatever resources you need to do it. And the grayed out means you already have it and you can't do anything with it. The color scheme for all of the menus indicating whether you can craft or unlock something or you can't, or you've already made that thing, should be consistent from menu to menu. Green means you can unlock it or craft it, red means that you can't, and grayed out means you've already unlocked or crafted it. I want there to be that color consistency throughout all of the menus in the entire game. There is an inventory in the game, so if you press I, you can see what all the resources are that you've unlocked so far. And I was going to say that I find this kind of annoying, the way that they did this, because I can't figure out what, if I haven't unlocked it, I can't figure out what a resource is or how to get it. And the reason I've turned around on that is because some of these item descriptions, if you knew about this ahead of time, would spoil the game a bit, because it would tell you characters that you have to interact with before you actually interact with them. So I guess the way they do this is fine. I suppose I don't have any complaints about it, except for one thing, which is that these descriptions, a lot of them say mostly. Silver is mostly used for unlocking main weapons. And I understand that there's a second bullet point here that's not filled in, but even something like Ash, where both of the bullet points are filled in, but it still says it's mostly used for Arcana cards. And same with this Cinder. There's only one bullet point because it's mostly used for ink. But is it used for something else? Or another example would be Deathcap. There's only one bullet point. It's mostly used to trade for bones. But I'm afraid to do it because I don't find these mushrooms very often. And what if they're used for something else important later down the line, and then I don't have any, and I don't find them very often? So I wish the phrasing wasn't mostly, because it makes me apprehensive about using some of this stuff. And there's one other thing with these seeds that you can plant. It says in 5, a little clock symbol, grow into noxious plants. 5 what? Because anytime I've planted these seeds, any of them, actually that's not true. I've only planted these. I haven't planted the cattail seeds or the garlic cloves. But every time I go out for a run, even if it's really short, by the time I get back, this seed has fully grown into the nightshade plant, which is what this seed is for. So I don't know what the 5 minutes is. Is that just 5 minutes of gameplay? Is that 5 minutes real time? I don't know. It's unclear to me. And since we're here, you can find this resource or buy it from the shop called Nectar, which is, this is a gift that you can give to NPCs that you meet in the game, either at the base or when you're out doing a run.
The first time, every time that I've given an NPC a gift, they end up giving me a keepsake, which I mentioned earlier briefly, but it's a special item that gives you benefits in the game, like guaranteeing that a particular god or goddess will show up on your run. And every time after you give that NPC a gift, there's a little +1 heart that pops up above their head, which I assume goes to some invisible relationship meter. I would like a screen that summarizes what my relationship to every NPC that you've met currently is. I ask for this because I can't remember who I've given gifts to or how many, because I'm assuming that either later in the game with more updates, the more gifts that you give a particular god or goddess, you'll get more from them, more than just the keepsakes. You'll get other things like items or other benefits or something like that. With a menu like this, you can easily keep track of NPCs that you've met and who you've given a gift to. So if you're, for instance, missing a keepsake, but you don't know who it's for or who it's supposed to come from, you can look in there and go, oh, okay, I've met this person, but I haven't given them any nectar. I haven't given them a gift yet. I need to go do that so I can get that keepsake. Or at higher levels, whatever other items that person might give you. You can keep track of those things. There are two other things here that I want to bring up. I noticed that there are no manual saves, so I have to rely on auto saves, which requires me to move around at the base and change to a different area in order for the autosave to kick in. I don't think this should be the case. I think when you're at base, you should be able to manually save wherever you are and not have to rely on the autosaves. And the other thing, and actually I lied because there's one more thing after this, but the doors that you pass through going from location to location display in an image what the reward will be once you beat all the enemies in that room. What would be nice is to have text over that door as well. Keep the image but add text too, so it says what it is on the other side. Is it a shop? Is it some god or goddess who will give you an upgrade? It should say the name. It should say what it is. Same with any resource, dust, grasp, whatever it is. Say it in text. And that adds on top of the accessibility thing, where if people have a visual or hearing impairment, then there's text on the screen. They don't have to look at this weird symbol that maybe they're not familiar with or they can't see very well. But thankfully, there's large text so that they can see what exactly the reward will be when they clear that room. There is a fountain at the end of each regent like Airbus, but it only gives me 15 HP, which seems pretty light to me. I don't think that it would hurt to bump that up, given that you just fought a boss, and I exited that boss fight with 2 HP, and now I only have 17, so I don't have a lot to work with. Would I go so far to say that 100% of your HP should get restored? I don't think so, but 15 is not much. I believe that there's one incantation that I saw that will change how much the fountain heals to 10% of your total health, not your current health, but of your total health. But even then, that's still not much. I feel like at the base level, those fountains should be healing more. Because, again, you just got done with a boss fight. That seems only fair to restore a bit more health. So that's about all I have for now. I'm enjoying the game. I hope that they implement the changes that I've mentioned here, or at least some of them. I know this video was kind of boring because it was all like UI stuff and whatever, and I didn't show a lot of gameplay, but later on I will get into more gameplay. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.